Hi, I'm Chris Frostad, President and CEO of Purepoint Uranium Group Inc. There's been significant investment flowing into uranium companies over the past few months, signaling what we feel is a potential near-term revival of uranium prices. As a result, Purepoint is returning to the exploration projects we initiated over a decade ago and will be actively advancing our significant pipeline of projects in the coming months. Here we see the relative change in market caps over the last 3 years for the uranium companies listed on the right. Until recently, the value of uranium company investments has remained reasonably steady as we wait for an upward correction in uranium prices. Starting late last year, however, things started to move. Over a 5-month period, we saw the value of producers rise 88% and developers 75%. Explorers jumped 165%. This represented not only market price changes, but also a significant amount of new investment through private placements. Clearly, the markets have been readying themselves for a rebalancing of the uranium fuel pipeline and a revival of uranium prices, a prediction further backed by numerous analysts and industry experts. While the total market value of all of these companies has sat comfortably between $8 and $10 billion since 2018, it's jumped to over $16 billion in the last year. This is the period of recovery that Purepoint has been preparing for. We recently raised $7 million to be used to reignite exploration on our pipeline of 12 uranium projects strategically situated across Canada's Athabasca Basin. This area in northern Saskatchewan provides all of Canada's uranium production, which totals over 1.6 billion pounds of U3O8 to date. The mines here host the highest grade uranium resources in the world, up to and in excess of 20% ore grade. Purepoint's projects, seen here in orange, are positioned within and on trend with the world's greatest uranium discoveries. On the west are our Smart Lake and Hook Lake joint venture projects with uranium giants Cameco and Orano. The eastern mine trend hosts the remainder of our projects: Umfreville, Turner Lake, Carson Lake, Red Willow, Henday Lake, and Russell Lake. Also on the east are 4 additional projects we refer to as the Tabernor Block. These early-stage projects lie along the north-south structural group known as the Tabernor structures, which are coincident with many mineral discoveries in Saskatchewan. As we take a closer look at the pipeline, we begin with our flagship project, Hook Lake, which lies adjacent to and on trend with fission uranium and NextGen Energy's 350 million pound RRR and Arrow deposits. Most of our work over the last few years has focused on the advancement of this project. Now, however, we're returning to some of our other well-advanced projects. On Smart Lake, Red Willow, and Turner Lake, we've completed first-pass drilling, all of which has provided us with uranium mineralization ready for follow-up. On Umfreville and Henday, we've completed ample geophysical work to identify well-defined targets ready for initial drilling. Follow-up or initial geophysical surveys are now being developed for our remaining projects in preparation of next-stage exploration. With the close of our recent financing, we're now preparing our schedule of work for the remainder of the year. Hook Lake and Smart Lake are both joint ventures, and our planning there is done in consultation with our partners Cameco and Orano. Our next joint venture meetings are scheduled for early May, where we'll be reviewing the results of our recent drill program at Hook Lake and initiating discussions on our next steps at both Hook and Smart. We'll be proposing drill programs for both projects for early next year and ensuring that proper permits are obtained well in advance. Commitments to these programs, however, will not be finalized until our joint venture meetings later in the fall. Last year, in anticipation of a potential expansion of exploration efforts, we were fortunate to secure drilling permits for our Red Willow, Umfreville, and Henday projects. We are now in discussion with the necessary service providers to secure the drills and crews necessary to commence these programs as soon as possible. We expect to be able to carry out approximately 4,000 meters of drilling at Red Willow and Umfreville early this summer. In the fall, we plan to initiate a 2,000-meter drill program at our Henday Lake project. Although we've done significant preliminary work at both Carson Lake and Russell South, there is additional ground geophysics that would be necessary to properly design drill programs there. That work is anticipated to occur later in the year. As well, we are anxious to begin drilling at Turner Lake, and we'll be submitting drill permit applications shortly. In light of the number of water bodies in the area, drilling is most efficiently carried out in the winter, and our plans are to announce our program later there next fall. Finally, the Taberner faults are a deep-seated 1,500-kilometer shear system that runs north through the Athabasca Basin. The system not only hosts over 80 historic mines and gold occurrences, but as well cuts the basin's mine trend, aligning itself with 8 of the basin's largest uranium discoveries. PurePoint's claims capture this system and will be carrying out initial airborne geophysics this summer in order to narrow down the most prospective areas for potential uranium deposition. Of course, this schedule is subject to change depending on permitting delays, the availability of contracted service providers, and weather conditions. In the coming weeks, we'll be providing additional detailed discussions on each of these exciting projects as we head into a very busy 12 months ahead.